Young Turks brought to you by Busted Tees. Go to bustedtees.com and enter promo code Young Turks to get 10% off your order.
What strikes me about Michele Bachmann, what I like best about this story, or what I like least, I suppose, about this story, is the fact that what Michele Bachmann has taken advantage of is, in the 6 years that she's been in the House of Representatives, the unwillingness of the press, of the mainstream press, to point out that she was a nut job, that she was hideously out of step with American values, that she was bigoted against gay people, that she was crazy, said nutty things. But instead, she said these things, and as we talked about them so often on the Young Turks, she said them in a vacuum. Nobody really paid any attention to her. We did, because we thought it was a good story that needed to be told, and we thought it was amusing. But mainstream media sort of let her go, and now all of a sudden here we are getting ready for the 2012 presidential campaign. It looks like she's going to run, and she's taken seriously. And there's a big article this week from Michael Scherer in Time magazine. And there are a couple things in the article that, again, because we didn't pay attention to her when she was being totally nuts, when she was sneaking around gay rights rallies in Minnesota and hiding through the bushes, when she was going on public radio in Minnesota and talking about how teachers, as part of the gay agenda, are going to teach your kids how to be gay. That's crazy talk. That is lunacy. But because we didn't focus on her enough then, it's now acceptable that she's sort of a mainstream political figure. And that's the result of now having to play all this catch-up work when this stuff doesn't have the impact that it should have. For example, Michael Scherer, who's a good reporter, his third paragraph in here about Michele Bachmann says, "But Bachmann is barreled into the dead calm, keeping a rigorous schedule in Iowa and New Hampshire," adding what Iowa Representative Steve King, who just couldn't be more loathsome either, he calls what Bachmann is providing an electrical jolt to the Republican Party. In Des Moines, Bachmann flashed big numbers on the huge video screen to her left and right. She loves using props. 75%, that's what she claimed to be the 4-year rise in the national debt. That's, again, we know that because she skips the Bush year. She attributes the last Bush year to Obama. I'm sure her numbers are still wrong, but that's a nice little trick she has, which is just, she's got the wrong president. And then she says, "Who is your daddy?" referring to the Chinese president. It's a little clever. 3.8 million, the number of words in the tax code. Happy reading, she says. And then $1.83, the price of a gallon of gasoline the day before Barack Obama took office. Really? Gas was $1.83 in 2009? I don't know. It strikes me that I was paying nearly $5 in 2007. Anyway, so that's Michele Bachmann. But then he says she knows how to seize the movement. In 6 short years, she's risen from anonymous newcomer to become a national GOP leader, rivaling Palin in star power. Skills and views make her a hero to many conservatives, turned her into a favorite target of liberals who flinch at her inflammatory rhetoric and factual flubs. So he does mention the factual flubs, but she's not an anonymous she's an anonymous newcomer because you guys, and I'm not talking about Michael Scherer in particular, of course, because you guys didn't do your job when she came on the scene. She was still a congresswoman. She was still worthy of covering. And the fact is, we needed to know the crazy stuff she was saying then, and then maybe she wouldn't be an anonymous newcomer. Maybe we'd know she's the crazy, nutty 5'2" lady who doesn't know anything about anything and has no business on the national scene. But we don't. Now she's this intriguing newcomer who's throwing fireballs. And a favorite target of liberals who flinch at her inflammatory rhetoric. She should be a favorite target of everyone who has a degree of sanity, anybody who's ever read a book or a newspaper. Earlier this year, in January, she was in Michigan, and she was telling a crowd that of Tea Party supporters why she became a Republican.
I was reading this snotty novel called Burr by Gore Vidal, and read how he mocked our founding fathers. And as a reasonable, decent, fair-minded person who happened to be a Democrat, I thought, you know what? What he's writing about, this mocking of people that I revere and the country that I love, and that I would lay my life down to defend, just like every one of you in this room would, and as many of you in this room have, when you wore the uniform of this great country, I knew that that was not representative of my country. And at that point, I put the book down in my lap, I was riding a train, I looked out the window and I said, you know what? I think I must be a Republican.
She's talking about the book Burr by Gore Vidal. written in the early 70s, maybe mid-70s. It's a novel. A sort of recreated history that sort of has Aaron Burr more of a hero than the guy who shot Alexander Hamilton in a duel, and sort of the object of scorn from George Washington, who was corrupt in the book, and Thomas Jefferson, who's sort of working at cross purposes and isn't to be trusted. But again, it's a novel, and the historical novel became sort of Gore Vidal's calling card. And in historical novels, you get to do whatever you want. And she reads this book and decides, no, I'm a Republican, because this is what Democrats think.
You know, in reality, her account is really accurate. She said, for the first time, I sat and I made a decision on my reality based on fiction. I must be a Republican.
If you're looking for a cool t-shirt, all you have to do is go to bustedtees.com. Pop culture, politics, science fiction, some of their t-shirts have been featured in movies like Knocked Up and in television shows like Scrubs. Their shirts are made in the United States and they're sweatshop free. So if you want to pick up one of these snazzy tees, all you have to do is go to bustedtees.com, enter promo code Young Turks, and you get 10% off your order.